raising money is something I'm working on doing a better job of. Right now, I guess we would have potential sponsors for certain projects, but a lot of the money raising has just been independently funding the films with my own money and my partner.
How do I raise money? I don't. I use credit cards. And I pay those credit cards off with the money that I get from my day job. It's that simple. I think that's what makes micro-budget filmmaking so appealing to me personally. And that's exactly what I did when I made my film Romeo's Distress. I paid out of pocket. I was working as a waiter. And when I had enough money, I shot another day of the film. And that's the way it went for 18 months.
I usually raise my money for all the different projects by saving them all the time. I do not have any credit cards, so I don't have to worry about spending money or tap out my credit cards. I did try to do some crowdfunding before. It was a pain in the butt to do, and because you had to constantly promoting and pushing out to let people know that you're having this. The project we did, I did two times already for my own project and did two for other people's project where I'm the executive producer.
We did do, I will say, I did do a crowdfunding campaign early on.
One of the good tips that you always need to know when you're doing crowdfunding is you got to make sure that you spend lots of time to promote and you technically speaking had to beg. So if you had to do that, why don't you just go out there and beg to all your friends and families or business associates for the same amount of money without getting a cut from Indiegogo or Kickstarter? So just a thought.
Was it like a year and a half into it after I kind of got the word out? We made $2,000. I would say that's not a successful campaign.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
right?
it just depends. It really depends. Especially right now, I think it's kind of hard with the pandemic. For a lot of people, it's hard to ask people for money.
Most of my productions are funded out of my own pocket, working various jobs. But I have done some fundraising. The first one I did was way back in 2000. And what I did at the time was I offered these producer packages where you give me $100 and you get a producer credit in the movie and you get a copy of the movie, a certificate, and I would keep you updated via email about the progress of the film. This was 2000. This was before Kickstarter, before Indiegogo, Seed and Spark, etc., any of those sites. This was before Facebook. This was before MySpace. So I was doing this by sending out emails to my email list. I was sending out postcards to my mailing list. And that's about it. So it was an AOL, I think was the other thing at the time. I realize this is the dark ages, but I'm just saying that this model, I recognized the model when Kickstarter started up. I was like, hey, I did that back in 2000. Basically like, hey, let's raise some money by these different level packages. And, it worked okay. I've continued to do that. I haven't used the platforms myself because I just prefer to do it myself. I've developed over the years a mailing list, both an email list and a physical mailing list. And of course, I'm on social media. So the model I've moved to is I get a movie almost finished so that I'm sure that I'm going to get it finished soon and barring any sort of last minute snags. And then I run a pre-order campaign and I have levels ranging from just the movie to the movie plus artwork I might make or the movie plus other movies from my catalog, original artwork, all kinds of weird stuff. And it's just a way to raise some money at the end of the process that I can use to backfill the money I spent making the movie, but also have funds to get the physical media created.
So there's different ways to raise money for micro budgets, whether it's out of pocket, you ask your parents, you can ask your friends, you use credit cards, crowdfunding. There's multiple ways to do it, and I've used every single one of those.
Fundraising is always the trickiest thing. A lot of times, because I've specifically used the word resources a bunch of times, and a lot of times that's because things that would normally cost money, you're able to get done either by calling in favors or because you know someone who knows someone, or you need equipment, you know someone who owns a camera, or you need a location, you know someone who owns a restaurant or whatever it is. So a lot of times when it comes to raising the money, it's not just about necessarily raising money in terms of pure capital. It's also just about raising the resources that normally would cost capital if you are able to get those in some other way. Now, as far as on a micro budget level, very frequently crowdfunding is certainly something that you can pull the trigger on, as long as you're not doing it too often, and as long as you deliver on the things that you say you can deliver on. Or also you can find people that are just kind of like-minded and like the idea. The difficult thing is with film, if you're trying to sell the film as an investment, that's a really tough road to go down. Because anybody who knows anything about what they're actually doing will know that more than likely the film will probably, lose money, or they can't necessarily expect a return on investment. There's a lot of other things that you can invest money into that more than likely would get you a return easier or sooner than a film would. So it really comes down to tapping into people's passions, man, and finding something that resonates with people that have resources and make them believe in you, and that you can deliver the things that you say you can deliver on.
As we said in the last question, we don't actually raise money to make our films because we don't like to wait around for money to come to us, because it's a lengthy process to actually raise funds. And we make small micro budget indie films, so we self-fund. But when we have raised money, we have done so for our educational film Daughter, which was a film that I wrote and directed, which was back in 2015-16. And that was a educational film. So I had the council and everyone involved in my area where I was filming. And I managed to raise, I think we made that film for $17,000. I managed to raise $7,000 from grants, and then there was other crowdfunding campaigns that came in to give us the budget.
Yeah, so it's we use crowdfunding as one means to raise some money when we need cash for our films, but also we'll just use our regular income. We'll save money and we'll use that money to actually put it into our films instead of spending money on household goods or cars. We spend money on films.
Or having children.
For our micro budget features, we typically scrape together the budget ourselves. And the reason for that is we want to have complete creative freedom. And we know that we can make back roughly the amount of money that we spend on it. We've also done a number of Kickstarter campaigns and used other methodologies to raise a little bit of money. But we typically don't use just standard traditional investors for it.